13 of November Foxtrot. We're back for another week.
Even all.
Howdy doody. How we doing?
All good, all good. Yourselves?
Yeah, tickety-boo.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Always nice to see another week out, isn't it?
Yeah. Certainly is that. Busy day today hunting dogs down, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the saga on Facebook.
Oh, mate, yeah. 4 or 5 hours of tracking him through forest, and then we finally got him. He was knackered, laid up under a tree, and then we lured him with hot dogs, and he was rescued. So, yeah, back in the loving arms of me mother and father-in-law now, so which is good news.
No, brilliant. Mate. Good work. Good work. Good work. How we doing? We've got Rage on that. How we doing, Rage? How we doing, Reese?
How you doing, Reese?
I always feel bad because I can see everyone saying hello, and then after about sort of the first 5 minutes, I just start getting into it, and I kind of just go, "Oh yeah, hi everyone that's just joined and stuff." So if you want a hello, if you want a little private hello, best shout is to get in the first sort of minute or so. Just say hello, and then
whilst Mike can still be asked.
Then while I'm paying attention.
Punctuality means everything, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Well, we can't say that because Rage told us off that one week because we were late.
Been reprimanded by teacher again, haven't we?
Yeah. So we are talking about teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work this week. Team hierarchies, roles, how it all works. From a solo's perspective as well. Obviously, if you're not necessarily with a team, how do you join a team? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see where it goes.
Always an option.
Yeah. So, gents, do you want to talk about, just briefly introduce yourselves in how you operate? I say operate, operate with a, yeah.
So
why point at me?
So hang on. Two different
hi,
things.
Les. Hi, Stip. Hi, Terry. That's it. No more hellos. That's it.
Hi, Terry. Hi, Les. I'm going to say hi, Reese, and I'm going to say hi, Rage again.
And I think for Reese, obviously, Reese is asking no Paul today, so no. So obviously, Paul will be sort of dipping in and out, I think, for probably the next couple of months, I'd imagine. Obviously, his good lady is now 33 weeks pregnant, so obviously it's So I think obviously it's just some of our sort of things that are a little bit more important, unfortunately, than spending the time with us on Friday. But I know he's going to be joining us next week, so that's great. That all four of us will be getting the band back together properly after such a long time.
Absolutely, yeah, well missed.
And apologies, obviously. So what I was just going to say, I think that Lance, if you want to go first, I think probably the good opportunity we got on this session is that Lance, obviously, as we know, sort of heads up his team, the Punishers. So I think from your perspective, you're probably in a good position to be talking about how you assign, why you assign the different roles you do, and I think probably from Mike's perspective is obviously he's part of your team, so he can probably talk about how he then feeds off of you, takes obviously the roles that are assigned.
Like an integral
He's an integral cog.
And then I suppose obviously from my perspective, run on a completely different team to you guys, but certainly don't lead the team. We've got Smithy who does that for us, but hopefully I'll be able to just talk about how we operate, from our particular team as well. So I think Lance, over to you, mate.
Yeah. I mean, like team wise, I mean, I've certainly I wouldn't claim to be an outstanding leader as such. I mean, I guess I do a pretty good job. I don't think we've had too many massive failures in the events we've taken part in. But I mean, team wise, I mean, like for new guys coming into our team for weekend events and stuff like that. I mean, if they're very new to MilSim and things like that. We sort of put them in as I'd sort of put them in a section as a rifleman as such, if you like, where they can just sort of fall in with the other guys who've got a bit more experience and sort of get to know the role within the team, get used to the patrolling, how we work with patrols and your hand signals, bits and bobs like that, how like different patrol movements, through forest area, through pathways, tracks, and clearing areas and things like that. And then like assigning team positions. I mean, obviously, if someone really enjoys a role within their team, either a sniper or a medic, for example, one of our team medics who's a dedicated medic, Stuart, he really enjoys the role, so he's always our go-to medic for that very reason, because he enjoys it. He's not forced to do anything like that. If he wants to mix it up and change out, he can, and that's another thing with my guys, is that I really try not to pigeonhole everyone as just being right, welcome along, you're our sniper, and that's all you're going to do from now on until you leave, is you're going to be a sniper. Obviously, predominantly, if they are a sniper, then they will be a sniper a majority, 99% of the time. But if they ever feel like, do you mind if I give this a go? Look, I've just got this new riff. It's an LMG, for example, or just a standard M4 assault rifle. Can I either go up just cracking on being a rifleman for a half-day session or for a weekend? Absolutely fine, yeah. And with the roles, when it comes to Blue 4 and sort of like the MilSim event, I think it does add an element of authenticity to it and realism. I think you can't just like all go, right, come on, lads, let's go, rah, all bomb out. And if there's going to be some structure there, I think, and it just adds a bit more realism to it. If you've got like your 1IC, your 2IC, you got your medic, you got your sniper, you got your LMG gunner, you got your couple of riflemen. Yeah, I mean, and everyone knows their positions and that. And for communications between each other as well, you know your numbering within your team and things like that. You know where and when you are, what you're supposed to be doing, how you're supposed to be doing it, and then the other guys can then bounce off of you with what taskings they've got within their little section. So, for example, LMG's laying cover there. He knows he's going to have a support gunner to his right, or he's going to have a sniper off to his left, 50, 60 yards, something like that, and they're going to get used to that. Whereas if it's just like, oh, this morning I'm going to be an LMG, then this afternoon I'm going to be a sniper, and then he's going to change and he's going to be a sniper, and it's just like, whoa, hang on, let's come on, steady on. Keep it structured as much as possible. If you want to change out, then we'll talk about it and we'll try and arrange something. But you can't just go hell for leather and just mix it up whenever you want to do something. Just change it. There's got to be that structure within a team. There has to be that that fundamental structure for it to work. If you follow me, so that's where we sort of work. It's sort of a bit loosey goosey, but everyone does have their primary role within like the Punishers, if you like. So yeah.
What's the difference? This is from Rage. What's the difference about being a medic in MilSim to being a rifleman? Do you have to carry different kit, or is it as simple as you're the only person who can medic people?
Well, is that for me? I suppose.
You might as well. Yeah, I've apparently gone blurry for some reason. So.
Yeah. Mike's just decided to go off the grid. They don't know me now.
I'm anonymous.
So with medicing in MilSim, I mean, obviously we've got with our, I can't actually quite reach it actually, but we've actually got a dedicated medic pack. So it's inside that. It's got all the bells and whistles. You know what I mean? It's got trauma kit. You know what I mean? It's got IV lines and bits and bobs I've picked up from different events and stuff like that, which is all kept within the kit. Again, it's more for the aesthetics of it. But sort of Stuart, who's our dedicated medic, we'll have a medic kit on him. He'll be clearly identified as the team medic. And it's sort of, again, it adds that bit of realism to it. So he's obviously there's been many a quote in film. Well, you're a rifleman first, and you're a signaller second, or whatever the quote may be. But so the medic is a rifleman essentially. He will be a rifleman. It's very unlikely you're going to get an LMG gunner who's the team medic. Do you know what I mean? Because he's going to have a dedicated role of being a support gunner. So a rifleman will be a medic within the team. So Stuart is a rifleman. He's a very good rifleman, but he's also a wicked medic who's super fast, whip it quick at getting to people. How he does it and how he does it without getting hit is two different things entirely, but he's like mustard at being a medic. So yeah, kudos to Stuart for that, for taking on the role, because you are a bullet magnet. As soon as you start going for someone, it's the enemy's prerogative to try and hit that medic out the game, because that really does mess your day up big time. If you're on a tasking where your medic's now gone out the game and you have to think, right, do we carry on without a medic, with no other medic in rule, like the 1IC, he can't medic anyone in. It's purely the medic is the medic, and that's it. And if he's out the game, do you risk it and lose your whole section, or do you go back, wait for him to respawn, and then try again? That's things you've got to consider. But yeah, obviously he's predominantly a rifleman, but he is also the dedicated medic for the team. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends somewhat on the roles and the setup of the MilSim itself, doesn't it? Because I mean, some MilSim are effectively skirmishes, maybe with a little bit more organisation. Some are really stringent. You've got to do this. These are the rules. So I mean, obviously, about a million.
I mean, I've been to a couple of events where the 1IC or the 2IC of the section have been able to apply like your first field dressing, if you like, so they can do the first initial hit. So say Mike's been hit out, I'd be more than capable of putting the first dressing on him. He's now back in the game, and I think that it's the second hit the actual team medic themselves have to apply a dressing to bring them back in, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, we've done events with stretchers as well, where it's not just it's not just you've got to apply a bandage. There's sort of stretchers involved. So it does depend on the role. But Les asks, how do you bring new members into the team? There's a very select process.
It's a very niche process that goes along with that, Les. No, there isn't. If you're for playing like obviously in our sort of Zulu 1-3 sort of teams, if you like. You know, I predominantly you haven't got, you know, don't be a dick is the main one. Be able to laugh at yourself and be able to have a laugh with others when you cock up. You know, don't take it too seriously. Along them lines, really. You know, there's a time and a place for seriousness, but it's not all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's not real. It's essentially toys at the weekend. So let's try and, you know, try and remember that and keep a level head. And that's it. Yeah, it's just being able to have just to be able to enjoy it for what it is, and not go hell for leather and sort of.
Sorry, Wayne has just said they have to like your new pouch.
And they absolutely and with both hands cup the pouch.
Not that pouch.
Oh.
Partly
the comms pouch. Yes, they have to like the comms pouch as well as the pouch. The comms pouch as well also has to be equally liked.
I mean, to give you an idea, like who's the newest member? Marcus, probably.
Marcus. Yeah. Yes. Marcus is yes.
Excellent team leader. Then who?
Marcus. I was just like, no, yeah, but did you see what I did then? I didn't do an Australian accent.
No, I know. Well done.
And that's why it took me time to focus and go, right, Marcus. Yep, right. Don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, Marcus. I mean, we met Marcus at the Octo 8, the last Octo 8 MilSim, and we'll come back to them in a second because they actually joined us tonight on the chat. So, and they've got some good things about medics. But so Marcus, we were having a barbecue. Marcus came over and just said hi, and that was it. Marcus is pretty much in the team. You know, we all got on with him.
It wasn't like, hi, I'm Marcus from Australia, let's have a barbie. It was we was already having the barbie, and then Marcus came over. All right.
Yeah. No stereotypes there. But yeah, no, it's just, you know, from that, you know, the next day we played a lot more with Marcus actually on the field. There's no way of avoiding this. I can't make this sound less weird. But and then from that, you know, Marcus joined the team WhatsApp and stuff, and we're already talking about going to the next game. I mean, COVID has, you know, made a massive stint to all of this as well.
Well, COVID has copped up so much shit this last year and the beginning of this year. You know, what a tosser.
Yeah. But just going back to the medics, so Octo 8 has just jumped in and said on the Octo 8 games you can medic others. If teams want to have dedicated medics, that's fine, but not compulsory for everybody. They also actually have a body part significance in out medic rules, so you can be wounded. So, for example, if you get shot in the arm,
that's right, yeah,
or you lose the arm, or you know, the arm is incapacitated. So
that's yeah.
If you get shot in the face, then you're dead. That's it.
Yeah, you're proper shot. That is.
Yeah.
I'm more hung up on Charlie Gaines's comment on Trojan. You cock up, you're going to wake up with a cock in your mouth and a finger up the arse. I don't know, is that like a subtle way to recruit people? You know,
well, I've always wondered about that Trojan lot. You know, what I mean,
I bet there's some people that probably like that. So Trojan, just be careful how you go recruiting, because you know you may be up for people that want that cock in their mouth and finger up the arse.
Lots of fingerless gloves with that lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be careful.
Moving swiftly on. So in terms of like hierarchy, because I've seen some MilSim groups. There's a particular one in America that I won't mention their name, but they actually have ranks and medals and stuff like that they award each other for bits and pieces. To clarify, the Punishers team is nothing like that.
No. Any awards usually a sweetie or a cup of tea or something when you get back. Well done. Pat on the back. Have a tea.
But we do actually have. So because we've got like how many? I don't know how many team leaders we actually have. Because
we've got sort of in an ideal world it'd be 4, because we've got 4 sections, haven't we? We've got sort of like 4 6-man sections, so 4-ish loosely. It's usually a guaranteed 2, haven't we? Usually have 2 fire teams at least per event. So yeah, in an ideal world, if the whole shebang were there, it'd be 4 sections, which is never going to happen. Unfortunately, I wish it would, but it's just, you know, plans and, you know, people can't make certain dates. It's just one of them things. That's why it's good to have a fair few guys, because some people can make it to some events and some others, and you've always got a good amount of people at each event we do, so which is cool.
How about you, Mike? Have you because obviously you've done some stuff with the Misfits?
Yeah, so I suppose it's not too dissimilar. So I think for us, you know, there is a group of players that come under the name of, you know, being the Misfits. You know, it's like anything, it's evolved over the years. People have come, people have gone. You know, but you've still got probably, you know, 5 or 6, maybe 7 sort of the, you know, the original guys. So I think, you know, that, you know, upcoming MilSim, similar to you guys, you know, who's going to the MilSim, how many people are coming on, you know, what will normally be Op 4, which Misfits normally represent, how many people is there? But I think that's the starting block. You know, if there's, I think like Lance has mentioned, you know, 14, you know, 4 teams of 6 or something like that. So, you know, if we normally we see around 20 to 25 on each and every sort of MilSim. Again, just a bit of an understanding of who's coming along, you know, what value they add, what the benefits of the individual. So 9 times out of 10, you know, we will put all of the snipers together. We'll have a sniper team which is, you know, there for that long range terrorism, you know, distance shooters and reconnaissance, you know, because hand in hand with, you know, a sniper will normally come a ghillie suit or a leaf suit or something. So, you know, those guys will by nature of them want to get stuck into those particular roles. I think like you guys, you know, we will sort of look at, you know, the individuals, you know, the team of 6. Has someone got an LMG, you know, has someone got a mortar, tag rounds, for instance, AEG, and again, just try and keep it balanced. I think we'll always have a QRF. You know, we always have that QRF ready to go and back up the others.
Yep.
You know, and I think, you know, what we also do, you know, so there's certain things and certain dedicated roles like that. Equally with the hierarchy, we'll just assess who's coming. 9 times out of 10, the squad leaders will be assigned to, I suppose I choose my words carefully, you know, but it's probably more of the senior players that you will see on the Misfits that go to every single MilSim will probably be designated as, you know, the team leaders, you know, just to help the guys along. You know, we'll often see quite a few newbies coming along as well, so make sure they're budded up with, you know, someone that's done it before and can work with them. So that, you know, that's a really big thing, having that little buddy system. But then obviously equally we all would partake in, you know, the standard duties of, you know, staying back on fob and just, you know, making sure that we're keeping an eye on our HVT or our captain. You know, obviously at night stag rotation, you know, it's not, you know, we would like everyone to do it, but I appreciate not everyone can do it. So, you know, stag, you know, who wants to go, who's up now, you know, so some people will do their rotation, get their head down, some people will go on a little bit longer, etc. So, you know, it's not too dissimilar to what you do. I think we probably don't drill down as far as, you know, sort of like assigning one person one particular role, unless they want to, of course. But you know, equal, like I say, for us it always just starts with that upfront planning of who's coming along, who's got what. So, you know, for the last couple of MilSims, to help the team out, I've done a little bit of a crib sheet. Here's all of the names, and actually what have they got? Have they got an AEG? Have they got a sniper? Have they got pyro? If they have, what is the pyro? Have we got mortarmen, etc.? And, you know, and then we can then say, right, well, actually looking at our crib sheet, well, actually it makes sense we take these 6 individuals, put them together, you know. So again, we just balance those teams across it. So, you know, yeah, not too dissimilar to what you guys do. I think in regards to answer one of the earlier questions about how does the Misfits take in new members. Well, I suppose one of the big things is that, you know, the Misfits has always been affiliated to a certain site down in Kent, so therefore it's probably a little bit easier for those guys to recruit, because they will keep an eye on, you know, all of the players that are coming along on Sundays, on the skirmish.
Talk of the devil.
There he is, and then sort of by nature of, you know, the conversations will go on between some of the site organisers, some of the, you know, the MilSim organisers at that particular site, and then start to say, look, you know, would you be interested in coming to one of these 24-hour, 48-hour, 72-hour events? You know, you come and skirmish. You're a fair player. You get stuck in. You contribute. You play fair. You play well. You know, would you be interested in taking it to that next level? You know, and 9 times out of 10, they would probably be, you know, buddied up to the Misfits just because of having the Misfits profile of being at the skirmishes most Sundays.
That's it, yeah.
So you know, that's how we would normally do. And you normally find that some people will come once, absolutely love it, you know, and by nature they become affiliated, and go from there. There you go, Mr. Goldsmith. Can you join? Sorry, Lee, not for you, mate. It's and it goes from there really. And I was the same. I used to skirmish, with my mate, and his life decisions, and his life took a bit of a different sort of journey, so it ended up just me going skirmishing on Sundays, which I enjoyed. I was approached by said site owner to say, would I be interested in trying one of these MilSims? Yeah, too bloody right, so I rocked up on my little old Autumn, and he said, well, look, I'm going to buddy you up with these guys, which was Sean, Lee, Mark, etc. And then from them, I really enjoyed it. B, really enjoyed their company, and the things that they could, I could learn from them, and they teach me, etc. And it went from there, really. Simple as that. I think obviously as you guys know that how me and Paul have become, obviously in the last sort of 6 to 12 months is, equally absolutely committed to the team that I roll with, at that particular site. But I think, sort of for 20, what was going to be 2020, but now probably 2021 is, to just sort of, get out to some other sites, around the southeast, around the south, and we sort of said that, be more than happy, if you're in the same position to buddy up with you guys, away from the local site. You guys seem to be trying to get around to different sites. We have the ambition to do the same, so it makes sense that if we're not at our home ground, we all just buddy up together, really.
That's it, definitely. Yeah, it'd be good once we can do it when all this is blown over, which would be good.
Yeah, it'd be nice, mate, wouldn't it? It'd be nice, mate.
Mike, how do you and your guys organise going to different events together? Because I know obviously how the Punishers do it, and we can talk about that in a second. I'm just interested how the Misfits do it.
And again, I suppose, there hasn't been that many, to be fair, but certainly the guys got out down to a couple of events. It was sort of down, and I didn't actually get to it myself, but again, it's the same type of thing. Once you're sort of in the team, or you're an affiliated person, or within the team, then it all starts with some sort of WhatsApp group, some sort of Facebook Messenger, and they just start a conversation to say, look, we're not going to be going to the local site for this Sunday. We're thinking about reaching out. How about it? Who's up for it? And again, it's that whole numbers, isn't it? You then start to look at dates, etc. And I know obviously at the start of 2020, once again, there was the ambition for everyone to start getting out to different places. But obviously with the backdrop of COVID, it just fell flat on its arse. So I think it's going to take a bit of, energy and gusto to start that again once, we see some sort of, resumption in what's going on, from regular skirmishes, etc.
Well, like you just said then, Mike, as well, about obviously going to different events and that. And as Mr. Fraser touched on earlier with the Octo 8 event, I think we went there. I think it was 7 of us. And so hence why we got Marcus put in our team. So we had an 8-man section, basically. So having said that, it was sort of a blessing in disguise just not having a full team from my guys' point of view out, because obviously then we wouldn't have had Marcus in our team, obviously to get to know him, and then obviously have him as a new sort of a member sort of thing. So, of every cloud and all that, although we didn't have enough guys to have our own Punisher section, if you like, at the event, then Marcus there was rolling solo. So they dropped him in with us, got on with him like a house on fire, absolutely top bloke, and then sort of flourished from there, really. So it's, again, a great way to meet potential new members at different events. If you haven't got a full team going with you, if it's only a couple, 2 or 3 of you, or again, if you're just going there solo to an event and you get put in with a section of 5 or 6 guys that are all in the team, there's a good chance, you get on well. You may well have found your team that you're going to join up with and play more events with. So, it's always good to just to crack on with an event, even if you're going on your own, like Mike said. It's you never know who you're going to meet, basically. So keep an open mind.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, go on, sorry, Mike.
I did an event in Lid with Legion, and I rocked up down there on my own. And I think Tony, there were actually 2 of the Punishers team. I wasn't with you guys at the time. I think they were at the same event. I didn't actually see them. But I was put into a little group with a load of guys that played fairly regularly together. We had a right blast because I was just same level of humour, just chatting to them. Just as long as you don't sort of squirrel yourself away in the corner and don't talk to anyone, you'll be fine. Just work with them. They'll work with you. It's good fun. Rage has just said, do you think being in a team is essential to get into a MilSim?
No, absolutely not. No, my first event, I went with two of my good pals. You know, we never even considered setting up an airsoft team, if you like. Then it was just our first event, a 48-hour event. 3 of us went along. It was our first ever MilSim, so we had tons of gear on our backs we could barely walk with, as you do. And it sort of went from there, really. You know, and going with 2 of my best friends to my first ever event turned into making more great mates at future events and bringing them into the team, sort of thing, that, you know, that we met within the airsoft community. So yeah, no, being in a team to go to your first event, not essential at all in my eyes. No.
I think equally as well. I think, you know, we can probably say that, you know, we've shared lots of the same MilSims, you know, in the last sort of 2 to 3 years, and you know, for each of the MilSim you go to, there's always going to be, you know, the singular guys that are rocking up, you know, and you know, and I think equally, you know, I'm sure, Rage, if we said to you, you know, that here's an event coming up and you can be blue 4 or op 4, what do you want to be? You probably know your preferences, you know, and you will go with that preference to say, look, you know, I really want to be, you know, NATO blue 4, you know, and you get there and you know, you meet the guys and you play, you know, and you either say, you know what, you actually, you know, this team, this camaraderie and these guys is you know, for me, or you might say, you know what, I want to just be a bit more balanced and say, you know, next time I'm going to try, you know, the other side as well. And I think that's absolutely fine. I think, you know, I think anyone that goes to a MilSim, whether you're on a team or not, you welcome the backup, you welcome, you know, the new guys coming in, and you know, you don't have to be, you know, influenced or indoctrinated for who you end up staying with. You know, you're your own man, and you know, you float between the teams if you want, you know. But you know, absolutely not. And you know, I think it's one of those things that, you know, I know Rage has been quite a few times. You said you want to get out to MilSims, you know, you're not part of a team, and you know, and never be swayed by that, you know, because you're in a very unique position that, you know, you're your own man, you know, and if you roll out on your own, brilliant, and you know, you've got the opportunity to go learn, pick, choose, you know, if that's what you want to do.
You try before you buy, sort of thing.
Yeah, or even, you know, just like I say, you know, remain agnostic, and you know, you pick what you want to do every single MilSim, whether you want to be blue 4, op 4, or you know, something in between. Then brilliant. So no, absolutely not, to be fair. I think sometimes as well, the whole thing of, you know, being part of a team sometimes, you know, does have its, you know, negative connotations attached to it. You know, it's a case of, you know, you feel very much, you know, committed, obligated, you know, to your team, you know, so if there's an, you know, and I think I said to you guys, you know, sort of, you know, rolling out with you guys at a different event, I feel very guilty and very naughty of doing that, but you know, and I shouldn't, you know, but equally, you know, I sort of, you know, I'm committed to, you know, the Misfits lads, so if it's going to be our home field, then in the nicest possible way, guys, I'm back with them, you know, on op 4, you guys are blue 4, and I think that's a great thing, isn't it, you know, yeah, I mean, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, when all said and done, you know, when your egos have calmed down and you're back in the safe zone, everyone's fucking mates. You're all there for the common reason, you know, to be adults, you know, dressed as, you know, pretend sort of soldiers, you know, and shaking hands, having a cup of tea and whatnot, isn't it? And that's what it's about.
Exactly that, mate. Absolutely, exactly that.
Lee's just put in the chat, my first ever game was with someone I never knew that well, and now I've been playing 8 years on with him. I'm Misfits.
That's how it starts, isn't it, really? You know, you just, you know, say you rock up, you know, you play with a bunch of lads, you engage, you talk, you align, and you think, this is for me. So, definitely.
Your Punisher patches are in the post, Lee, all right, mate, just to let you know.
Not to put a dampener on it, but I would err on the side of caution that you can meet some interesting characters on MilSims. You do get the odd person who might think themselves a bit more superior to everybody else. And I've come across that a few times with a few teams. So my brother and I, we kind of got into a MilSim together. We'd been playing Airsoft maybe for about 3 years before that. And we rocked up to, it was the APOC, one of the APOC ones. Rocked up. Carlo was our team leader at the time. I think we were the British FAF or whatever. And it was great. You know, that's sort of got me into MilSim. That's where I met Lance. Sort of budding friendship grew from there. Which was good. But yeah, I mean, I've been to events where my brother and I, again, we were the only 2 that we knew of each other. And we were put into, I think we were meant to be a 12-man team. It turned out there were only actually 8 because like 4 people didn't turn up. They didn't supplement our team in any way at all. And then we had to defend the entire like concrete fob at Longmoor. So we had like guys in all the sangers, but I didn't have enough guys to go in the sangers together. because we were there for like 2 or 3 hours and it was like midnight or something. So I was like, right, you need to switch on, switch off, so somebody can get a bit of sleep while obviously have someone else on watch. And at the same time, we were having to open up the gate for the QRF vehicles to come in and out. And one of the teams on the rotation of the QRF just got into an absolute shouting match with me because, like, oh, why haven't you got enough guys opening the gate? You've got to open the gate. Come on, snap, snap, snap. I was like, don't start fucking snapping in my face.
Oh, you just stirred the hornet's nest, mate.
Yeah, like, blimey. And I was like, you know, we're all here to have a bit of fun. Like, yes, it's an event. Longmore Legion events, definitely. Legion events as a whole are like they aim for like the pinnacle of realism. It's trying to get as much like involvement and like, you know, just trying to really replicate and simulate a real world experience as much as possible. So I get that it was a bit heated and stuff like that, but you know, at the end of the day, like,
don't lose your manners along with it, though.
You're gonna have to start like losing it with me. So you can come across oddballs, basically.
Yeah, just be wary of the oddballs.
There's so many more events. I've made so many friends during the event and that haven't been on our team. Like, you know, Wayne. Actually, Wayne's just put a comment in there. I'll just read his out. So, my daughter came to the last Kent event not knowing anyone out of our team, was made to feel so welcome by everyone on both sides. We gave her the role of RO and she held her own both days.
She done very well that weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, at one point, I think it might be midnight, we were holding one of the command points with Wayne, his daughter, a couple others and that. We were all just sitting there. They were all absolutely shattered, just sharing sweets around. It was just great. It was just great fun. So, yeah, you meet, there are more nice people than there are bad people, but just be conscious that there are the occasional.
They're there in the shadows.
And then what you'll find though is those, you know, the people that, you know, come with that wrong temperament probably won't come for the second time, you know, because 9 times out of 10 they turn up, you know, they are who they are, they don't enjoy it because of who are that, you know, they are, and normally they don't come again, you know. And I'm sure you guys have seen many faces that have turned up once and not come again, you know, and that's not particularly a bad thing there. I think just looking at one of Rage's comments there, you know, so in our experience the lone guys don't get left behind with the rubbish. No, not at all.
No.
Well, like I say, you know, and I would probably say that, you know, I've probably more experience at one particular MilSim site as opposed to a plethora, but certainly at the site that we play, you know, everyone welcomes a new addition, you know, and you know, you'll be invited into, you know, the chat, I would imagine, on as much as Blue 4 as Op 4, you know, we'd have those same type of conversations, you know, who are you, what you're bringing, you know, what's your loadout, etc. And then, you know, you'll probably be buddied up with a group of, you know, to balance the group. And, you know, we would look at probably each individual as, you know, where do you add value? What's your benefit, you know, because we want to roll with that. You know, you don't want someone, you know, I'm sure you guys wouldn't do the same, but you wouldn't have someone rocking up, you know, that paid their hard-earned money and given up their time to come to a site, you know, and treat them like a bag of poop, you know, because, you know, the competitiveness of us all, that we want to win. So therefore,
absolutely, mate. Yeah, I mean,
you know, we want, you know, we want the best of you, and, you know, in the nicest possible way. If someone rocks up, you know, and, you know, 5 minutes and you're like, oh, this is a really good guy, you know, and, you know, they're taking to everything that they should be, you know, and you're thinking you want them, you know, you want that person on your team, you want them back, you know. So I can't say I've ever experienced anything like that, and you know, I think anyone that would treat another person like that needs to freaking do one, really, don't they?
That's it. I mean, look, a bit more into Rage's question there about with the taskings and objectives at the end. So if I'm running an event specifically from a NATO point of view at a site, then I'll organise it into like a tasking, if you like, and there's usually like a 4 standard one. So you'd have combat patrol, a mission tasking, QRF, and a base defence or a FOB defence. So those 4 taskings, every single so there's 4 teams on the Blue 4 side, then they'll cycle those taskings. So you'll have teams A, B, C, and D. So you'll have A be doing QRF, B will be doing that, and they'll swap over. So there'll be 2 to 3 hour rotations on each tasking. So if you're the new guy and you're in, and for example, one lone warrior come along for the NATO team, and I dropped him in with, say, I had 5 guys from my Punishers team, and we needed 1 more to make up the 6-man team. I dropped him with them. you would be doing QRF for 2 or 3 hours. You would be doing mission tasking. You would be doing base defense, and you would be doing combat patrol. So at some point, it might not be the first mission tasking, but a couple of points over that weekend, you would have all done the same thing. So there's going to be no one saying, all I've done all weekend is QRF, or all I've done is sit here in the fob on stag. That never happens with me. If I'm running it, then everyone gets an equal cut of the pie, and you all get to go out and you all get to go door kicking or whatever it is you want to be doing. You'll all get that opportunity to do it. There's none of this. These guys have been coming here for 5 years, so they're going to be doing all the bells and whistles, going out, doing all the great objectives and all that. It's like, no, everyone takes a turn at, grinding the stone back at fob or being out combat patrol and stuff like that. So that's how I do it. Whether others do, I don't know.
And then obviously, so Wayne's put in something that, he has come across where that's happened. So I suppose my question back to Wayne is, you've gone there, that's been your experience. Would you go and do that again? I'd imagine your answer is going to be no, not at all. You feel like, your money's been wasted, your time's been wasted. So you're probably not, you're going to, not going to be interested in that team. You're going to go find someone else, aren't you? So, for people that have obviously organised an event like that, then more fool them, because, once bitten, twice shy, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Good stuff. So interesting that Mark Smith has just joined the stream. Smithy,
the arch nemesis.
There you go. So Smithy, if you're in a capacity, that you want to jump in on the stream, then just let us know. But Smithy, if you've got any insights into, your perspective as leading the Misfits and how you structure, and how you designate roles, etc., then please contribute. I'm sure you will do a better job for the Misfits than probably what I've done in the last half an hour.
Divulge all your intel to me, Mark. Come on. Come to me.
Definitely. but yeah, so back to the point that Wayne made. If you rocked up to an event and that's how you've been treated, then you know what, more fool them, because you're going to go and join some team. I'm not too sure if you are a punisher at all, but it's their win, isn't it? Their gain. So any teams or any sites to do that, then in the nicest possible way.
Exactly.
To be fair, I think there is an element of, if you've got a weekend that you want to run a certain way, i.e. to either progress the storyline, or you're not going to send a load of people out on night ops if they haven't got night vision, for example. Because whilst you can get them doing certain things at night, there's no point having 30 odd people running around in the woods just tripping over and running into trees.
It's hilarious it would be, though.
No, but yeah, but I think there is an element. Sometimes you have to kind of tailor your event a little bit to what you want to progress. But I mean, for the most part, if you're going to an event and it's got like a good solid rotation where you're doing a variety of bits and pieces, then
No, that's what I said. That's what I try to do. Is give everyone a.
But yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to know what event Wayne was talking about. But you can tell me that separately, Wayne. That's fine.
I think, like you say, there, Mike, it's just a bit of courtesy and respect, isn't it? I'll use, Sean, good old Sean Glass as a great example. Absolutely, during the day, the man's a beast. Fights hard. During the day, and he's
never heard that in the same sentence before. Great example, Sean.
Equally, his eyesight shot to shit, and he'd be the first one to say in the evening, guys, look, I'm not going to be able to support you here. My eyes are terrible, and I can't see where I'm bloody going, and I'm just going to get frustrated. And everyone respects that, because he fights, so hard during the day and committed. And like I say, the respect amongst the team is, what, Sean, mate, fair play to you, mate. Absolutely fair play to you.
Yeah, Rage is saying that I've done patrols at night without everyone having night vision in the real world. No, I get that. I think I don't necessarily agree with tailoring events and bits and pieces to things like that. But yeah.
I mean, to be fair, up until September last year, was it last year? Yeah, I was patrolling at night without night vision, essentially. I mean, obviously, I'm a thermal prior to that, but I mean, like we've said before, as soon as you get low-lying fog or mist with the thermal, I mean, you'll still pick up a heat source. You won't be able to navigate with it. So essentially, you're still blind then. and the disorientation it causes.
I'm trying not to slag off a particular event, but there is one particular company that I know of that do this, and I don't want to upset them. But I have been to some of their events, and they do tailor it a little bit to certain groups to do certain taskings and stuff. So that's where I'm just coming from on that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
The boys with the toys want to go out at night time. Yeah. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, I get that, but I mean, I don't think it should just be pigeonholed to you're not going because you ain't got that.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to crack at the whip and go without it, then you know, if it's a clear night and the moon shining, there's no reason why you can't go cutting about night vision on. We've done it for we've managed it for the last 6 years.
I've been to an event. There were 6 of us in the team, and literally we were hand on each other's shoulder trying to progress forward. And someone at the front was just flashing a torch every once in a while to try and guide us because it was that dark. So you know, it's not that you don't.
But it works. It takes longer, but it works.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to jump back to Leslie's question earlier. He says, as a team, do you plan your own weekends away to practice drills?
In my mind, I do. Lots. I think there's been many a message in our WhatsApp group about, guys, how about this? And it's like, yeah, I'm well up for that. And it's just like, bong.
I have to admit, I would like to do not necessarily drills. I'll be honest with you.
That's where I'm at with it. I've got to be honest as well.
Drills, but I would like to practice tactics and strategy a little bit more. So, you know, we've got fairly good at doing extended lines. I think now that most of our team know what that is.
I mean, extended line, you know, reactions to effective enemy fire, you know, I mean, your pepper potting, as I've known it for, or bounding, if you've got Alpha Charlie fire teams covering each other, cover and move, bits and bobs like that, yeah. But like you said, with drills, I mean, Christ, everyone should be able to change the magazine, shouldn't they? I mean, if you're not using your rifle, change to your pistol. Has it got to be super duper quick and life-threatening? I don't think so. But then, again, each to their own. If people want to practice drills, then fucking fill your boots, crack on.
I mean,
I certainly won't hold it against you.
I'm not reloading my gun very quickly anyway.
Yeah, when we go to the drill days and it's like changing drill, I'll just take the 249. I don't have to change. Look at this.
I think the only thing that's you know, I'd build on that is, you know, spent probably over the last 18 months a lot more time getting to a site to test all of your kit before you go out on an event. I think that's a real big one.
That's,
you know,
massive. That's different.
You know,
yeah, totally different. That is, yeah.
You know, so many times you see someone rock up to a MilSim, you know, they unload the kit, they get started, pull the trigger, and my gun's broke. And you're like, oh, fuck me, did you not try it? Did you not test it?
Yeah.
You know, and then equally, you know, I think what me and Paul have been doing with the night kit is just testing everything works, you know, getting out, testing it, does it work, you know. And I think, you know, how we both changed certain bits on our rigs, you know, the optimizing piece. I think you're right in, you know, we've spoken, you know, as a team about drills and that, and it's just not really the appetite, to be honest with you. And you know what it's like, you know, people have lives, busy lives, you know, for the most of it, and trying to get people together, you know, for something like that is just incredibly tough as well, isn't it? And like I say, you know, are you going to see a lot of value and add, you know, that you're going to be able to replicate on an event next week? You know,
that's it, Mark. I mean, Mike. Would you rather try and set a weekend up to go and practice drills, or set a weekend up to go to an event and practice your drills whilst at the event, when it's, you know, when you're actually going to get some proper time firing and countering fire and things like that? So, you know, using your events as training, and remembering and learning from it is a big part of it for us. I think, you know, I certainly learn things all the time when I go to events and I come back and think, cool, fuck that up a bit, didn't I? Or that was really good, for example.
I really liked, again, this isn't meant to be an advert for Octo, I know they're on the chat, but I really liked the last Octo event we did because it was kind of split into 2 days. So it wasn't like a full rollover into the next day. We had the opportunity to go back to like a little campsite, basically. We had like a barbecue and bits and pieces like that. But I could tweak a few little bits that I bought new, and then was like halfway through that, oh, that's not really working there. I want to change that up. Whereas sometimes with the 48-hour events, we were in woods, you know, you don't have that opportunity because, you know, you don't have as much stuff Yeah, you obviously haven't got a car there that you can just dump stuff off if you don't like it.
Mm.
So
And sometimes you haven't got the time either. For the little time you get back at the fob.
Skirmish days as well are good for that, for testing kit and bits and pieces. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a personal fan of skirmish days. I find them a little bit like herding cats. But they are good fun if you've got a group of people you want to go to. I think we did one for my birthday a little while ago.
Absolutely,
yeah. So that's quite good. But yeah, I mean, Les has jumped back in and says, I must say, as a team, we have and it works. I don't doubt that it works for some people. It's just my personal opinion. I would prefer to practice like tactics and stuff so that when we go, you as a team, you're strategizing. We want to attack that target. How are we going to do it? Well, let's do this maneuver, and then everyone knows what they're doing, rather than like, oh, so it's like the crab. We're just going to pincer them, or type of thing. It's something a little bit more tactical and sort of teamwork.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, for me, from my point of view, as long as everyone's quite au fait with their patrolling order, and like I said, the reactions to effective enemy fire, what to do if you start taking rounds. And be able to get into them positions, switch out. If you're in one big patrol, but you can switch into your fire teams quickly, start getting rounds down, start moving, start pushing forward all the time. Then that's, for me, that's all you can expect to do, really. And personal drills, weapon changes, things like that. Again, that's personal preference. I certainly don't do it. I'd like to think that sort of after 5-6 years, you've got a method, whether it's the right method. I mean, Christ, is there a right method with Airsoft to change from your main to your secondary? I don't know. I'm sure there probably is in the real world, but I'd like to think that I can drop my rifle to my side and draw my pistol in a sort of in a reasonable amount of time. That's not going to kill me.
My pistol fell off the last time I did that. Put it in properly. I literally went down to grab it and it just pinged straight off my hip. So there is a correct way, and that was not it. Tactics. So Ragefile says tactics is important to practice, but drills not so much unless you do it a lot and often.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the questions coming from Octo8. What are your thoughts on teams doing recce's on an AO before a game? Do you think it's a good idea, or do you prefer to go in fresh, just using intel maps, etc., as you would in real life?
I love maps and intel. I like to get boots on the ground and be like, oh fuck, where do we go? This thing now, and it switches you on more. I wouldn't, if I could get a guided tour of a site prior to a game, then that's sort of going to take the fun out of it for me. If I got to see an awesome looking village or something they've constructed, some massive fob that you wouldn't know was there until you got there and actually started the event, you'd think like it adds that element of excitement to a game. I certainly wouldn't like to get a tour of an objective before a game start. No.
I think as well, I mean, I love the recce side of it. Think about some of the events we've been to, and the objective is, that a 2-3 man team has to go out and do some recce. That's brilliant. I remember one event, myself and a guy called Ben, we went out for recce, and we went out at 8 in the morning and we didn't come back till 1 o'clock and hadn't shot a single person. But, it was really good because, it was about just being stealthy, evading, getting close to, gathering, intelligence, intel, feeding it back, and
that's a massive part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, it was a site we was familiar with, but equally it was, we know we play different areas, different zones, fobs move, So no, I'm very much in a believer of let's get stuck in, and recce it as part of the game, and obviously the pitfalls of being caught when you're trying to do some recce.
Exactly, and again, that can take a massive element out of the game if you do get a tour prior. Then it's sort of like going to, it almost makes recce redundant unless you're looking for movements of vehicles or team movements of the opposing team, and yeah, that's going to take a huge element out of the game for you.
I think it's useful having a map. So because I know there's a slight organisation and logistic point of view here, it is useful having a map with proper detailed markers around the outside of the site boundary, so that when you get to something, it's very visual of fuck, I'm outside the site boundary now. So a prime example of this is a very quick story, but Ground Zero, one of the NAE events, I was teamed up with like 3 or 4 other people. We'd all never been there before. 2 of them were Polish, didn't speak a lot of English. And the 4 of us thought, right, we're going to go on a big, long patrol right around the outside. And we ended up accidentally rolling into someone's garden, way outside the area of operations, because there's no tape. It's such a big site down there. There's no tape, around the outside. And we just kept on going. We were like, no, well, this is fine. We don't know 100% where we are on this map, but we'll just keep going. And we
That's
literally
right.
just went through this little garden gate into someone's garden. Like, we're definitely in the wrong place here. So having a map with proper markers on that you can identify stuff visually is quite helpful.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I agree with you guys. Like, it's nice when you actually get to somewhere, you're like, oh shit, this is cool. You know.
And this is, like I said,
and
and I've harped on about it on a few episodes now, where I'd love to be able to take part in an event where you literally get dumped at a grid reference or at a location, and you plow on from there. And it obviously it'd require a huge game zone. You know what I mean? You're talking like NAE or Ashdown Forest or somewhere up north, up the Highlands of Scotland or something like that. Somewhere that's got a massive land mass that you could host the event at. But yeah, something like that where you literally dropped. There's your grid reference. This is where which is where your teams are all gonna link up, and then you're gonna sort of fan out from there. Just a bit get some of your map and compass skills sort of going, and sort of bedding you in nicely. That'd be so. I'd love to do that. That'd be awesome.
I'm just gonna use this as a quick opportunity that if anybody watching this video knows anyone at Ground Zero that wants to run a MilSim, please, for the love of God, get in touch, because I would love to do a MilSim there. They've done so much work with like various areas. There's a whole proper prison with like a little back door out of one of the jail cells and stuff like that. There's just so much grounds there to do a really, really good MilSim, and I'd love to do it. So if there is going to be one, please let me know.
Yeah, likewise.
No, sorry, I'm sorry, mate. I was just trying to reading up the comments there. Where is Ground Zero?
It's down near Poole. Near Poole? You go through the New Forest. It's like New Forest way.
Oh, okay.
It's about probably 20 minutes, half hour from Southampton, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
But I mean, so the Ground Zero events, again, this isn't an advertisement for them, but I've been there and they've had about 1,500 players, and I've spent about an hour seeing 6 people. Like, because big areas all spread out and stuff like that. There's great opportunities to properly, negotiate the site and weave through. You've got loads of different terrains from pine tree, ferns type areas. You've got lower valleys that are really dense vegetation. There's some wetland area and bits and pieces like that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Got a whole breeze block fort at the top of the hill. The topography of the site is very up and down as well, which gives you really good strategic points and places, and like recon roles there would be amazing because you're actually properly reconning. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I've got goosebumps talking about it. I would love to do a MilSim, especially with vehicles as well, because they've got the scope there for like proper resupplies with like quad bikes or something like that, bring stuff in. Maybe Chinooks.
I can make a cardboard one just come running through the woods.
And that's what, I think obviously everyone talks about obviously Sterling being, a fantastic MilSim organizer. It's just a real shame that Sterling don't really have many sites down in the southeast, isn't it? They're most, all quite a considerable drive or way up north. But it's going to be a difficult one to try and get good numbers, from us to go up there. So yeah, Sterling, if you want to try and speak to the guys, down at Poole and use their site, then I'm sure you might get a bit of a different demographic and wanting to come along.
Yes, sounds good to me. Make it so.
Definitely.
Imagine if the military being involved in MilSims. Yeah, there was a Legion event where that was at Long War, where some troops basically started strolling through the area of operations and just got lit up because obviously they're all in camouflage gear, and I'm pretty certain that Op 4 just went, well, there's Blue 4, and they just shot them. Like, none of them were wearing iPro or anything like that. They're literally just out for a stroll, and they just got lit up by a load of BBs. So
lit up a whole section of Marines walking through the village. Whoops! I was just about to get my head caved in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Octo's just said, thanks for your input. We discourage teams from having a walk around before the StarTex and encourage them to work from intel and do recce and intelligence gathering in game, but it's not a rule.
It should be a rule.
It should be a rule.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think look at some of the comments that reacted, to the question from Octo. That I think everyone loves a bit of recce. It's fun and it's exciting, and ultimately it's a real strategic part of any event. So yeah, absolutely welcome it. So hopefully if March 27th and 28th does happen, please happen, because we all want to get out and do some bits. Please put recce in the events, because I really look forward to doing that.
See what would work well as well. with that is if you had a board at like your base zone or whatever that you can actually feed your intel back onto. So I mean, for example, you go right. Well, we counted 8 buildings and we've got a rough layout, and you could like dry whiteboard or whatever the buildings on there. Because I know the at APOC in the stockade, there are a number of diagrams and bits and pieces that people have drawn on the walls. Because it's really useful to actually have like a proper little schematic, and
a visual sort of thing, and it's good for briefing as well.
Exactly. Otherwise, a recce, for all intents and purposes, is the person who went out, came back, and went, "Yeah, I know that's there." Unless you feed that back and properly debrief it to the team.
Sorry, Terry, Pippingford Park next to Ashdown Forest. Is that MOD? Is that where the bunker is? Terry, if you can let me know. As in, and I mean bunker as I mean like the 8 floors bunker, which is like for all sorts of mischievous things that might land on our country one day. Actually, I think it's been decommissioned now and sold, but there was a nuke bunker out there. Big brown tourist information sign that says secret nuclear bunker this way.
Not so secret, is it?
Pippingford Park. That does sound familiar, I must admit. But I know there is a bunker which got masses of land on it out towards Ashdown.
Just while we were waiting for Terry, I thought I'd just put some other comments up. Wayne said that event I did, we had a map at the FOB, but we changed with what was found out as we went along. So that's useful. Again, I mean, so some events you can actually mark positions of where the enemy are.
Yeah, Crowborough.
Find enemy FOBs and bits and pieces like that. That's quite helpful.
I'll have to private message Terry after this, I think. Have a little chat with him.
Definitely. Crowborough is very easy to get to. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, that's about 20 minutes from me.
Nice. Good. So have we,
exciting.
Go on, Mike.
Things like that and colour schemes.
Say that again, mate.
What about like colour schemes with teams? Do you think it's useful to have like a proper team? Or do you think like following a theme so they all look vaguely the same? Or, I mean, obviously it will depend on the event because there might be load of rules, but
I think it'd be quite difficult to have a colour as such. I mean, obviously you have your team brand, your patches, or your insignia or whatever it is you want to call it. But like a dedicated sort of, whether it be like a camo pattern. I mean, when we first started out, we was always loving the woodland DPM. I mean, it's still probably one of the best woodland camouflages you could probably get in my eyes. I think it's a fantastic bit of kit. But obviously, some events you can't wear it because it's obviously a lot darker than what MTP is now. So you get the clash of Op 4, maybe possibly, and things like that. So, but I think it'd be difficult for a team to have like a dedicated, maybe a base color, perhaps like a black T-shirt or something. But I mean, I think you'd struggle to.
By that, I'm referring to you see them on Facebook, like people put their team pictures up, and it genuinely looks like they've just copied the same person across. Like they're all wearing exactly the same. Like, do you think it's good to have a little bit of uniqueness, or whether everyone should be striving to look the same?
Nah, I don't think it's essential that everyone's exactly the same. At the end of the day, as long as you've got the same colour trousers and the same colour top as what's required of the event. So if we all have to wear MTP, as long as my guys have got an MTP top and bottoms on, if they're using an OD green rig or whatever, I'll probably be a bit thingy if it was a black rig, but certainly OD green or a desert tan rig or an MTP rig, then yeah, all day long that's fine. But I'd expect him to have the base colours of the trousers MTP and the top MTP, or if we're in a PMC role, solid colours of either a black T-shirt or solid tan trousers or something like that, you know. But personal kit, a plate carrier to me is your personal kit, so you dress that up as in what you want to do with it, basically.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? You like you say, your base colours. I think, you know, at least Lee Goldsmith Hightower was the sun. Obviously, depending on the event, will always drive what you're wearing from a base colour. But you know what you bring with you. You know, like I say, is personal and it's unique and individual, isn't it? You know, and that's the key thing. You know, if you have 20 people turning up dressed exactly the same with all of the same kit, then you know, you're going to get the same result, aren't you? I suppose there's something about, you know, the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results, isn't it?
This is a question that's just coming on my phone, actually. I don't know why they've messaged me on my phone. But what do you think about mag compatibility? I guess that means like everyone's able to use and chuck like magazines at each other, so everyone's using similar. I guess a similar platform or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know TM's got to be a TM mag. There's no getting around that. Well, I mean, with a lot of other brands, I'm sure, like for example, a standard M4 mag would fit in a multiple of platforms. I'm guessing it may not. I mean, I know my bolt's very finicky with what mags work in it, so I don't know. Again, it's personal preference. Do you know what I mean? I don't have a TM. I have a bolt. Mike's got a TM. You've got a neutral. There's three different brands there altogether. So I would certainly, from me having the Punishers team, I certainly wouldn't say, right, I've got a bolt. All of you have to go and get bolts now. I don't think it's essential. I think you just got to be very careful with your mag when you're firing, and if you do run low, make sure you're in a position to either get resupplied from your fob or be pretty quick on bombing up.
Yeah, and that's it. I think it's one of those that you would
Top man, Terry.
You would sort of cause, I think the idea is a really good one. That if we've all got compatible mags, then one person comes out with 50 mags to supply the line is a really, really good idea. But I think it's probably not that practical, just based on people's preference of the riffs that they want to use and own. And equally, I think because 9 times out of 10 MilSims do have ammo limits, of 500-600, which normally
exactly,
you've got lows, mids, filling up a low cap, mid cap doesn't take long at all, does it? And if you're running a high cap, then you got one magazine, and someone can bring another magazine, one of your own magazines along. So I suppose there is, like I say, there is benefit to it, but I just think you're going to just struggle to find a team that would want to run the exact same piece of kit that uses the exact same magazine. But it's a good notion nonetheless.
Cool.
I could see it for reenactment, perhaps. So all having the same sort of on that side of thing. But does reenactment fall into the MilSim? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's some reenactment teams out there that do use airsoft rifles for it, that do MilSim and just happen to all have like the Colt Commando or the Armour like 177s or something like that, and they're all exactly the same. We don't. Could be.
I can definitely see the advantage. Like if you're holding a position. And you just
it wouldn't matter at all then. Like, especially like the night fights at the Vietnam event we done. I mean, that'd have been well handy, because I've never seen so much ammo shot in one 2.5 hour onslaught as I did on that event. It was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I think our M60 gunner Dale Fraser, I think he fired, was it 60,000 tracer rounds?
Something like that, yeah.
I think he actually fired his M60 to pieces by the end of the weekend. He said, I had bolts, washers missing out of that from where it was up in that tower, just rattled to bits. That's brilliant. How much for you to do it again?
I take it there was no ammo limit at that event then.
Not when we was back at the fob. I think when we was out on the ground there was, but when you're back at your fob, and just so happened that our fob was the fire base, and it was just like, oh, this is handy.
Lee said, always handy if your gun can be compatible, but it's not a big deal. Yeah.
Nah, exactly. I don't think that was the same event. I nearly had my head taken off by a mortar round, courtesy of my number 2, Daniel Wanstall, trying to fire mortars in the dark. That's never a good thing.
All right, gents. Probably call it a day. We're getting there.
Yeah. Do we know what we're doing next week? I think we do know what we're doing next week.
I don't have it to hand. I was kind of hoping no one was going to ask. Because I can't find it very quickly. Hang on, I will find it. Just a bit of an update, though, everybody, which is I've been talking to a number of suppliers about patches. We have 4 designs that we're going to be releasing. Potentially some of those in PVC and embroidered and a mix of bits and pieces like that. Yep, Les has literally just asked any news on patches. That's yep. So
is that sarcasm?
So we're basically just sort of organising the last few bits and pieces like that. We'll try and get it as cheap as possible, because we're not doing this to make money. It would be nice if we could cover the cost of the streaming software, but that's about it. So and if we do make any extra money, then we'll probably spend that money on prizes to give back to
or prizes.
Yeah. I can only speak for myself, but we're not in this to profit, are we? It's it's sharing the knowledge, learning from each other, engaging with the audience, and hopefully it's all reciprocal, isn't it? So yeah, there's no, like I say, there's no profiteering, just obviously to wash any sort of operating costs own face, really, isn't it?
That's it, exactly that. For the pure enjoyment of it, ladies and gentlemen.
Once they're out, I'll let everyone know. Well, we are going to get some samples, bits and pieces, so I'll probably put them out like Facebook and Instagram and stuff, so that people can see what they're buying before they buy them, because that's always a win. So yeah, other than that, I don't think anybody else got any other news. Anything we want to discuss quickly?
No, I've got a long titanium spork turned up today, so I don't get bean knuckles anymore. Nice and long.
Bean knuckles is a very different connotation in my mind when you first said it.
See, my normal spork's about there, so when I don't start. So this isn't a ball bag. This is a ration pack. All right, so I dip in, and then I'll end up with bean, and I'll end up on the knuckles. But now.
Is this the first time you've had a long-handled spoon?
Does it show? I was thinking of storing it just up there like that then. Or going all Roman and just having it up the middle like that.
Mate, if you put it on the side, Lance, it doubles up as a boom mic.
Yeah, I was thinking of protecting the nose from sniper shots.
Lastly, Les says thanks again for his Christmas present. So,
glad you enjoyed it, mate.
You're welcome.
Ray just said, can you do a patch without the foes? As living in Leicestershire, people might think I support Leicestershire City.
Leicestershire City.
There are patches without no foe written on them. I don't want to like ruin the surprise, because we've spent a bit of time coming up with brands and bits and pieces like that. So,
so no rage, all right? You just have to suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll buy Rage a little bit of like orange tape.
Just don't wear them out in public.
Rage also said, you can cut the ration packs down, right? So you don't have to use a long handled spoon.
No, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, sorry, Rage. They also have them without the fox on as well. So there's a variety of stuff. So
yes.
Anyway, right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next week.
Good night, all.
Thanks for joining.
I can't find it quick enough.
No, that's it.
Loadouts.
There'll be some branding coming out and media stuff on Facebook and stuff that will tell you what we're watching, what we're talking about next week.
Yeah. I think it's loadouts.
I'll make sure I print it out and it's actually here, so I can know it off the top of my head.
No, it's not loadouts, actually. No, it's not.
Right, hang on, I'll find it quick. You guys chat between yourselves while I find it.
What should we talk about? Terry's just said racing spoon. Racing spoon. What does he mean by racing spoon?
Is it like where you put an egg in it and then run up and down, the 100 meters?
Could be. Yeah.
I'm reaching at best.
Pea grenade race. Pop the pin just in there.
Just thinking it might be good for obviously a bit of a boot lever to get your boot off if it's stuck.
Yeah, it's also doubles as a shoehorn.
Yeah. Dear. Okay, so Lance, you mentioned you've got some new bits from Mission Tailors, or you put a brief in at all?
He's frozen.
I think he's frozen. He's back. There you go.
We're back again. Yeah, it could be. I've got two of these, so I might even have as a cheeky giveaway one of these.
Sweet, brilliant. So what is it we're doing, Mike, next week?
Next week we are doing pyro mortars and tag rounds.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
Doing all the fun stuff. Doing boom. Yes, of course we are. That's good. That's a really good one. And Paul's back next week as well, isn't he? Which is good because he is a mortar man, so that's good.
Sweet.
I've never used that phrase before, mortarman. I like it.
He's a mortarman. It's Paul Mortarman.
Right, cool. On that note, we'll see you all later.
Good night, all.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care. Cheers,
Have a
chaps.
great week. Thanks for joining.